Hi y'all, this is Tracy with the 3-Wick Thesis Candle channel, and I have for you today an episode of my lit review series. I did a Bath & Body Works haul this past Saturday. I'll go ahead and link that video below in case you want to check out cold impression, scent notes, and all that from the original post. You'll get a better look at the label, wax, wicks, all that kind of stuff. Today's video is just going to be a post-burn review of the candles that I purchased in that haul. Most of these are the ones that were released recently for the summer line. This is kind of our first view into summer. There are a couple of very stellar fragrances here that I recommend picking up for your collection, and there are many returning fragrances, some of which I don't feel like they belong in a summer collection. I'm going to unpack all of that for us and get into a ranking of how I would put these in order from least favorite to best. Most of these are purchase worthy. There are a couple that I would absolutely pass on. I bought them because they smelled good in store and I thought they would smell different on warm, and or I just wanted to try them out and now I have that insight and I wouldn't buy them again. So why don't we start with those? There are 9 in this haul, and I know this might be odd for some of you, but I'm going to make number 9 the Sea Salt and Sails. Now, I want to be clear, this is a well done fragrance. I feel like it is well balanced. It has all of the elements that are listed here. You get a sense of that driftwood. You get like an aquatic note. This feels very water beachy. The reason why it's last on the list for me is that driftwood goes the way of cologne, and it smells like I'm sitting with a man who's wearing too much cologne at the beach. Okay, and I don't like my men cologne. Y'all know I like my men to wear perfume. So if this smelled like perfect and pink at the beach, I would be all over it, but it does not. Now, the other thing I want to highlight is, I might say this wrong because every time I see this, I think sea salt and snails. I know I'm not alone. People on Reddit have said this as well. So if I misspeak, forgive me. All right, so first things first, the good things about this candle. Very strong. It had really good throw. I test all my candles in what I call my laboratory. It's basically a converted single car garage. So the door has been sealed off. There are no windows in that space, and it's an office space. The door to that space is actually behind me over here. And the way I test throw is, well, one, does it come out into my open concept space? And if that's the case, it's a strong thrower. Also, when does it hit me as I go down the half flight of steps? If it hits me right away, I think it has good throw. If it doesn't hit me until I hit the bottom of the steps, it's more medium. And if it doesn't hit me until I hit the desk area, it's low throw. This one I would say had good throw. I actually am surprised because that driftwood note, I would expect it to come out into the open concept space, but it didn't. It stayed kind of in the vicinity of the desk and just the contained space on that level. Now, that's good if you're not crazy about driftwood, and honestly, this candle is borderline tolerable to me for that reason. The driftwood is there, but it doesn't dominate, but it is there just enough that it's just not my vibe, and I don't like it. But if you like driftwood fragrances, you like cologne-y candles, I think this is a well-balanced one. It's not going to hit you over the head with cologne fragrance, but it is nice, and it's a little bit subtle. Let's see, what else? Yeah, I just said not horrible, but too much for me. So yeah, I don't like this. I think by way of driftwood candles, it does a decent job, but it's okay. Also, I would compare this to several of the Goose Creek line, their recent Aquamarine collection. I'll put a picture of the one I think it smells most like up here. Very similar. So if you are a Goose Creeker and you want something a little more affordable, I think you could buy that one and have a very similar vibe to this one. Okay, number 8. I'm a little bit surprised that this one ranked so low, but I will explain why. I chose Sunlit Glow. Now, I know this is a fan favorite. I know people really like it in the hand soap, and maybe I should try it in that particular medium. I've heard that people want this in body care. That actually makes a lot of sense because this smells like a lotion. This reminds me almost a one-for-one of Kringle's new 3-wick release. Is it Life's a Beach? I think that's the one. I'll put a picture up here just in case I'm wrong. It has this like sunscreen vibe to it, and I compared that candle, and I'm going to compare this one to the same thing. My mom had this like copper tone lip balm as a kid. This was in mid 80s. came in a brown jar that was round, about this big, and you'd put it on your lips, and it was supposed to be like a sunscreen moisturizer. This smells just like that. It's got this like lip balm sunscreen, not like banana boat sunscreen. It feels more of like a bougie, classy sunscreen, right? It doesn't feel like the cheap CVS sunscreen, which I'm not judging. People like that fragrance. It's fine. But for me, this just smells like it's trying to be a little more spa-like, a little bit more high-end body care. In general, I just don't like the lotion note that's in here. It's too creamy, and I'm really, really craving more of the sunny citrus. I would actually like some brightness because that coconut and amber are so grounded and base in terms of the note vibe. I need something to brighten it up and kind of uplift it and make it lighter. And it ends up just feeling really heavy and creamy. It's nice, but it's not my thing. I don't enjoy it. Will I burn this one? You know, I don't know. I'm giving away the Life's a Beach candle. If I can find someone who likes that one, I will toss this in and give them this one as well. So it's something that's like, I'm glad I tried it, but I am not going to return to it. The orange that is in here, I wrote down that it feels powdery, almost like a powdered, like tang orange drink mix, as opposed to what I was hoping for, like an actual juicy orange. Strength on this was, I would say, medium, and the throw was kind of medium as well. So not super strong, but strong enough. Yeah, it's just not for me. Just not my thing. 7. Also, I was a little bit surprised by in terms of how I liked that. That's the Oceanside Lavender. Now this one, I feel like it's got a similar like base note vibe, although these two don't share scent notes. But on warm, the base note elements read just kind of the same. Heavy, summery, body care lotiony, and I actually was craving a lot more lavender in this. So I did put "so beachy!" exclamation point on my notes. So you definitely get that beach vibe, but I also get the same note in Sunlit Glow that feels a little bit like sunscreen. In fact, while testing this one was lit, and I just kind of glanced over and looked at the jar and was like, oh yeah, that kind of smells like sunscreen. That makes sense because it has coconut in it. And I thought I was sniffing Sunlit Glow. And then I looked at the label, I'm like, no, wait, that's the Oceanside. So these two are appropriately related based off of shared label. I assume they're supposed to be a part of the same collection. Again, not crazy about that creamy sunscreen vibe, but if that's your jam, you're going to want both of these. The floral on this one, however, unlike the citrus in that one, does help to brighten this up a little bit, to make it a little bit lighter. But overall, this to me just feels like a heavy candle. It feels very grounded in those base notes, and I still wanted more floral to brighten it up even more. Strength and throw, same as Sunlit Glow. It's good, not powerhouse, but good enough. Also, I'm going to highlight this. My jar is really gross, y'all. It's all this dirt from the adhesive from the sticker. And also on closer look, the label is not adhering. You can see there's a big bubble right here. So not the best in terms of aesthetic. If you're gifting this candle, make sure you inspect it because that one's looking pretty rough. The other one, the Sunlit Glow, didn't have that issue, but that one definitely did. Number 6, I put as Vacation Villa. Now, I like this candle. It's actually more pleasant on warm than I thought it was going to be on cold. It just kind of feels meh, like, oh yeah, that's pretty, but like, okay, like where's the complexity? But on warm, this just becomes very calming to me. It feels very warm and comforting. It reminds me a lot of what you might get at like a spa if you were getting massaged and they gave you like different oil options. Just the blend of that sandalwood with what I assume are florals coming through with the linen. I'm not sure what sea breeze is supposed to be, but altogether, this is just really nice. I would say this is a hint soapy. And I would also argue that it's not your typical linen fragrance. So often with linen, for me, it's very powerful and you feel like you're sticking your head in a dryer with some really strong fabric softener or dryer sheets. I don't get that with this. There's just like this hint of linen, and it really just kind of brightens up some of the rich sandalwood base note that's in here. So I really like this one. It would have been further up on my list. It definitely would have surpassed the Mango Papaya and the Pastel Taffy. However, the throw on this was quite low and the strength was really low. I struggled to smell it even sitting next to it at my desk, and it did not throw beyond the space. Something to keep in mind, it might do better under a lamp or in a crock. It also might come to life after the second or third burn. Sometimes candles take a bit to bloom. So for now, I'm designating this as low throw, low strength, but that of course could evolve. Number 5, I chose the Mango Papaya Paradise. Now in general, I'm not a huge fan of papaya. It's got that kind of sharp element that can go the way of smelling a little bit urine-y. And this one doesn't take me to that place on warm, and I think that's because the mango in it really helps to ground it. Yeah, I wrote not too high pitched. You get this really nice blend of like a sour tartness from the papaya, and then you get the really sweet kind of gooey ripe scent note from the mango, and those two marry well together. They help to balance each other out. So if you aren't a huge fruit sweet lover and you aren't a huge tart lover, these two are going to complement one another and make this candle more approachable. In terms of strength and throw, I would say this was medium. I was expecting it to be a little bit higher given that papaya note in there. Sometimes those high-pitched notes or those sharp notes can really help to carry a fragrance, but I found this to just be like a medium, decent throw and strength. Yeah, I'm glad I picked this one up. Glad the hubs liked it. I also just love the way the jar looks when it's lit. Very pleasant. Number 4, I went with Pastel Taffy. This candle is still a bit of a confusion for me. I'm really confused. The lid, y'all. The lid straight up smells like tropical fruit. I get this like bright, sour papaya, pineapple, but then the actual jar, I mean, it almost smells unscented. I can get hardly anything out of the wax. And then when it's lit, it literally just smells like taffy. So I don't know where's the fragrance coming from when lit, and why does the lid smell that way? And I even thought, like, is there a different candle in this collection that has these scent notes and that's like the lid got swapped at the store? But there isn't. And also this says tropical fruits, but I don't get tropical fruit on warm. This is very fruit ambiguous is the term I like to use. I struggled to pick out any one particular fruit note, but if I had to label, there's definitely like some summer berry essence to this, not so much like a pineapple or a mango or a papaya. Like I was expecting these like kind of tart tropical fruit notes, and it really just kind of smells like your year-round grocery store fruit elements. It's not a bad thing, it's just not what I was expecting. So you get kind of this blend of like gooey, I just opened a bag of taffy and stuck my nose in it, mixed fruit element. You might also compare it to like if you had a roll of like Starburst and you kind of went and sniffed the whole roll. It just kind of blends together this fruity element that's hard to identify. And then I do feel like I get like a nice marshmallow gooey element to this. It's not the same marshmallow that's in like Marshmallow Lavender or Marshmallow Fireside, but there's definitely like this sugary gooey element to it that reads like marshmallow fragrance, even though marshmallow is not a scent note in here. In terms of strength and throw, this did not perform well. I found the strength to be light at best. I kind of was doing one of these to try to get a really full idea of what the fragrance smelled like, and it did not throw at all. If I'm entering into the office space, I was like, I have that lit right, it's full pool right. Like, I was confused as to why I wasn't smelling it more. Again, it could bloom second or third burn. This is just a first burn impression, but this was really light for me. This is all the rage. Lots of people are talking about this candle. lots of interest on Instagram and YouTube over this candle. For me, I think it's going to be a one and done. I actually think that Kringle's saltwater taffy is better. I get an actual better taffy vibe to that candle, although on par in terms of strength and throw. If we can get a line that comes out with a strong taffy fragrance, I would probably choose that one. Next, number 3 is Palo Santo. I like this candle a lot. My only qualm is I don't feel like this is a summer fragrance. Palo Santo is woody, it's earthy, it's grounding. It feels very fall winter to me. It's not light in any regard. It doesn't feel fruity. I wouldn't imagine this at a boardwalk. It's kind of witchy and mysterious, and I just, why is it in the summer line? I don't know. And honestly, I think Bath & Body Works should try putting this out in the fall. I think it would do a lot better. With that said, I love this fragrance. On warm, it's just really earthy. I feel like it gets woodsy without being cologne-y, which for Bath & Body Works is a real challenge. As someone who doesn't like cologne fragrances, I'm always disappointed by how much their wood scents smell like cologne. So it's nice that this one doesn't go that route. I would say this is a Palo Santo candle first, and you just get a hint of that amber kind of in the background. But overall, just a beautiful fragrance. It did remind me quite a bit of one of my favorite Target candles, and I actually don't know whether or not they still make this candle. I had this, and this is one of the candles that got me into candles. So it was like Yankees Witch's Brew and this one. I had this in the big one. There was a huge recall a couple of years ago. They had discontinued it for a while. They brought it back, but then it was only in the 10-ounce size, and I haven't burned through it enough to even look for a rebuy of this one, so I don't know if it's still available. But this is their Ashwood and Palo Santo candle. This one also has patchouli and oak in it. And this one is really pretty. I love this candle, and the Palo Santo that's in this one reminds me a lot of the Palo Santo that's in the Bath & Body Works one. So I like having this in my collection. It makes me feel good that if this is discontinued, I can actually burn this one and enjoy it and not feel like I'm going to miss out on that scent note. So just not a summer candle to me. Now, in terms of strength and throw, I consider this medium. I could smell it when I got to the bottom of the steps. I could smell it when I was sitting next to it, but it didn't creep up the stairs. It wasn't super strong. Again, it could bloom. It could come to life after second or third burn. But I think because of those warm, earthy base notes and it's base note dominant, I don't think it's going to have high throw. It's just not the way base notes work. Number 2, I chose Fresh Watermelon, mostly because this actually feels like a beautiful summer fragrance. I want summer vibes, and watermelon says summer vibes. It's ripe in the summer. You eat it to cool down. It's high water content, so it's hydrating. It just rings all those bells for me. Now this one, I have thrower in all caps. It is a very strong candle as well. Almost overpowering if you're sitting next to it. Even the hubs was like, dang, you can smell that watermelon candle. And he was sitting over here on the couch. So it's literally downstairs in the desk, mid-room, and is creeping up, and he could smell it on the couch over here. So this one's got some throw and some strength. On warm, I think of 2 things. One is just a really juicy, fresh aqua fresca. It reminds me of Disneyland had like a watermelon aqua fresca that I was really enjoying last summer. It smells like that. But there's also kind of this like creamy taffy element that comes through. That might be because of that sea salt, but there shouldn't be a taffy element in here, but it does have that taffy-like candy note to it that almost smells like a watermelon starburst, right? It's got that kind of vibe. Really nice, very pretty. It feels very clean in the way that watermelon can kind of feel very fresh. Overall, really enjoy this fragrance. I recommend it if you haven't already picked it up, but if you don't like watermelon, it's not going to be your thing. My number 1 choice, and one that I think is probably going to sell out, is the Sugar Cone Crunch. Now, I don't like either of there was like berry waffle cone and something boardwalk. The boardwalk came back in the single wick this year. I don't like that fragrance. I also did not like berry waffle cone from last year. It was very cloying and just too sweet for me. This is sweet without being overwhelming. I actually have a lot of notes on this one. So one is this actually smells like an edible gourmand. I put an exclamation point because I feel like Bath & Body Works has a way of ruining their gourmand fragrances by adding like a perfume or cologne note to something that should be edible. And I get that they like body care and they like lotion and perfume and cologne. It's their store, right? But as someone who likes gourmand candles, I want to feel like I can eat my candle. Goose Creek does gourmands beautifully. Bath & Body Works nailed it on this one. This smells like an edible gourmand. So I don't get any perfume, cologne vibe to this. It also feels like a sugar cone or a waffle cone that's kind of just come off the iron and you're in the process of like shaping it. So it feels almost like this like hot steam cone fragrance mixed with this like creamy note. It almost feels like when you're finishing off an ice cream cone and you get down to kind of like the last big bite and it's the cone that's gotten all the ice cream like kind of seeped into it and it's a little bit soft and gooey with that creamy melted ice cream, and you take that bite and it's like this blend of kind of mushy cone with melted ice cream. That's what this smells like. So it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I want to eat it. I don't even want to blend this with other things, although I think you could burn this with fruit candles. I think you could burn this with like the Happy Hanukkah candle. I think you could burn this with like a raspberry rosé. I'm trying to think of all the different fruity candles. You could definitely blend this, but I like it on its own. It's beautiful by itself. Now I did have some pooling issues with this one. It took over 2 hours to pool out, and even then you can see there's some here and here. I couldn't get it to pool. I'm sure that'll work itself out. It usually does. As the flame gets lower down into the jar gets hot enough to melt the wax off the walls. So I'm not worried about that going forward. But I would say first time you like this, commit to having it going for a couple of hours. Unlike some of these get going real fast and within an hour you have a wax pool. And then in terms of strength and throw, I would say this is good. It's pretty strong when you're sitting next to it. Throw, I would say, it like started to creep up into the stair area, so pretty strong, but not super thrower, not a beast. But I love it, and I'm going to buy more. And I did have a question about, you know, are these going to sell out? Which one should I snag before SAS? I've only been shopping at Bath & Body Works for almost a year. I mean, like really intensely. I have always shopped with them for like 30 years, but like legitimately paying attention to sales, it has not been that long. I can tell you that Palo Santo, Sea Salt and Sales, and what was the other one? Yeah, I think it's just those two. Oh yeah, and Oceanside Lavender was the third one. All three of these were at Winter SAS this past winter, which means they launched during the spring-summer, went to spring-summer SAS, and still were around to come back for winter SAS. So I wouldn't rush to get these three. I feel like these are ones that have come out before. People who love them already have backstock. They're probably going to be fine. In terms of Sunlit Glow, I think that one's a fan favorite. This one's been out for a while. The Mango Papaya. It's still in stores, which tells me it's not going to sell out. This one is meh. I don't think this is as popular as what maybe Bath & Body Works had hoped. I think if there was any that were going to sell out, it's going to be Sugar Cone Crunch and Pastel Taffy. And that's just me basing off of the reviews I've seen and kind of the hype on Instagram and YouTube around these two candles. Fresh watermelon maybe stands a chance at selling out, but honestly, this is just kind of, it's just a watermelon fragrance, right? I think it's going to be popular. I don't know if it's sellout worthy. So if you're really worried about any of these selling out, I would say pick up one of these three. Also, y'all, not the best approach, right? But we are in the 90-day return window for SAS. So if you bought these at whatever sale price you snagged them at, and then they go to SAS for cheaper, there's nothing stopping you from buying it at SAS and returning the new candle with the old receipt. Is that a bummer? Does it make it so people who want the candle don't have it available to them until you do the return? Yes, it does. But also, that's what company policy does to us. If a company creates a policy that allows you to return things after 90 days and during SAS, people are going to do it, and it's a way for you to save money. If they just had these on sale all the time, this would be a moot issue. But they don't. They like to play games with us with their sales. So most of these I wouldn't worry about selling out. I think we'll see them at SAS for sure this summer. And some of these I think we'll see at Winter SAS for 75% off based off of my limited experience. If you have any other questions, let me know. Put those in the comments below. Or if you have any feedback or insights on these fragrances that you'd like to share, I would appreciate that because other people will learn from you as well as from me. And my perspective is mine alone. And I love the diverse interpretations and ideas we have about candles. So share those below. If you appreciated this review, give me a thumbs up. Lets me know that you want to see more content like this. It also just makes me feel good. And if you're returning, thanks so much for being here again with me today. I know you have other options on YouTube, and I really appreciate that you value my videos and that you want to spend time with me. And if you're new here and you liked this content, make sure you subscribe. I do Bath & Body Works content regularly along with Goose Creek, Kringle, and Yankee. Those are kind of the big four that I focus on. I also do small business candle makers and wax vendors if you're interested. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you again in my video tomorrow, which is going to be my Saturday ritual haul from Bath & Body Works. I can't wait to go out with the hubs, get a coffee, get some fragrance, and share that with you when we get home. Until then, take care. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.